Hi everyone, I'm up in Saggart this evening. There was just an announcement made today by the Irish Government, by Jim O'Callaghan and Colin Brophy. O'Callaghan, of course, is the Justice Minister, and they've announced that they've agreed a deal to buy the Citywest Hotel. I've covered this now in a number of videos previously, so have a look back on those videos. I'll add a link in the comments at the end of this video as well. But this is an absolutely disgraceful decision by the government, yet again, to ignore the public in terms of closing up the only hotel in this village in Saggart, a village, beautiful village in southwest County Dublin. And people have come out in force tonight. It's just finishing now the protest. They were up and down by the centre a number of times. They've organised protests over the past number of weeks because of what's going on. And the decision now is by the Irish Government to do a deal with the company Tetrarch Irish Collective Asset Management Vehicle to purchase Citywest for €148 million. This is outrageous because in the last few years the Irish Government bought previously the Citywest Hotel. It was previously rather in Nama, banks that of course we bailed out and places that we all bailed out through the austerity, and it was purchased for over €30 million back in 2013 by Tetrarch in concert with PIMCO. Then they were bought out by Starwood Capital. Of course, Starwood Capital have been involved with the Irish Strategic Investment Fund as well, working with the government to profit massively, private equity firms, from the housing disaster. And of course, these Irish collective asset management vehicles were brought into being by Simon Harris when he was Minister back in 2015, which means that there's no rules on these vehicles, essentially, to pay very little tax in Ireland, and of course not to mention who were the big backers behind this. And a couple of weeks ago a report was out in the Sunday Business Post which said that a lot of these developers, essentially in private equity firms, are flushing money through Ireland, and this is absolutely outrageous. Now at the same time we've seen the authorisation by the government again, banks that bailed out again, the Citywest complex that was bailed out again, purchased in this as well, and this has been used for state supported accommodation in terms of international protection and through the temporary protection directive through Ukraine as well. And they've made an absolute fortune from this, these international vultures and national vultures as well, and might be added. It's absolutely disgraceful. People need to stand up against the mass immigration agenda, which is a race to the bottom, which benefits the very rich in society at the expense of ordinary people. And of course this is part of the globalist agenda, of course espoused by people like Peter Sutherland. It's about eroding essentially the idea of sovereignty, and it's quite important that people have a say. And from a critically important point on this is the fact that people are voiceless. They're ignored, despite them being promised consultation. They've been completely ignored, and they've gone over their heads again, acting against the interests of the people of Ireland. They're more interested in standing up for their masters in Brussels than representing the people of Ireland. But this is what's going on in Saggart, a beautiful village in southwest County Dublin. The population of this village has increased by over nearly 40% in the last 5 to 6 years, and of course it's just catastrophic in terms of the only hotel that's down here that was used for many renowned sporting events, the Irish Snooker Championship. There was events there such as golf tournaments, and of course darts, and many more tournaments were used. And of course this would have had a knock-on effect for the local village in terms of local businesses and employment in the local area as well, which is all gone because of the decision now by the Irish government to pursue this agenda, of course, over the interests of ordinary people. It's disgraceful. People have had enough. People need to stand up and down the country and put up the needs of our communities first, in terms of putting the needs of ordinary people. When the government can sign over money in terms of another 150 million or thereabouts to this vulture fund to make massive money out of the public purse, they can't afford money for children with scoliosis treatments, so many thousands, up to 15,000, 16,000 in emergency accommodation, and many more forced into homelessness, and not to mention many more living in poverty and deprivation in Ireland. But again, this is who the government serve, the very rich in society, and are more interested in being their good boys and girls for Brussels. So thanks a lot for the support. Please keep sharing my videos and share the word out far and wide to what's going on in Ireland. So thanks a lot, and slán.